Hey heroes, and welcome to this New World video. With the release of the July patch came a bunch of new content in New World. Today's video I want to focus on the legendary items that you can get from the new expedition, Barnacles and Black Powder. Let's begin with the jewellery. So Damp, this can be obtained from all named enemies in the dungeon. It is a ring with 25 intelligence, keen awareness, burning and leeching. A pretty good fire staff ring in my opinion, with keen awareness and burning, that's lovely. And the leeching, just be aware that the leeching doesn't work on your burn effects but will work on your basic attacks and your abilities. And next we have the droplet, which can also be obtained from all named enemies. This is a Healer's Rejoice item here. We've got an amulet with focus, health and divine, and shirking dot cleanse. Health and divine is going to cost a lot of money normally, and shirking dot cleanse removes a damage over time when you dodge in a light equip load. Got the teardrop, which can be obtained from all named enemies. This is a good general piece. It's not got anything specific on, but it's got Constitution and Earring. It's got Refreshing Toast, which is a base perk, and Regenerating, which is nice. I'm not a big fan of Refreshing Ward, since I don't want to encourage getting hit, and it doesn't work with blocked attacks, which is what a tank would want to have. Let's move on to some armour. We've got the Lost Soul gloves here. These can be obtained from all named enemies. They are light with focus and refreshing, so a good start to a refreshing build there if you've not got anything else. And then you've got elemental aversion and vigor, which is nice as well. Quaint helm can be obtained from all named enemies. This is a heavy helmet with strength and dex on, so this is probably going to be for spear and hatchet users. It's got physical aversion and refreshing, which is nice. Critical retribution here. When you get crit, you gain crit. So this is going to be only for PvP, because PvE mobs don't crit. But a nice overall piece there. The Shoes of Sign. These can be obtained from all named mobs. They are 25 strength, medium footwear, so good for a max medium loadout there. They also got elemental aversion and refreshing evasion, and then shirting fortification, which is pretty sought after perk. When you dodge through an enemy attack, you gain 45, 3.8% for 6 seconds. And then we have the Wanderer's Pants. These can be obtained from Nereid, the final boss of the dungeon. It's got dex and intelligence and light leg wear, elemental aversion, invigorated, and shirking energy. I can imagine PvP rapier users using these because of the shirking energy perk there. Going in, causing some trouble, riposting, dodging out, getting the extra stamina and running away. I can imagine that'll be pretty popular. And then you've got your waterlogged shirt. This is a medium chest piece that can be found on all named enemies. It's got Constitution, Vigor, Elemental Aversion, and Refreshing, so that's a pretty flexible piece for a max light loadout there, since it uses a medium chest, and it's got Elemental Aversion and Refreshing and Vigor, pretty good perks. Let's move on to the weapon. So first up we have the Arrow Spine Bow. This can be obtained from all named enemies and has dex, so nice there. You can replace the gem, so that's not an issue. You've got Enchanted on there, which deals extra damage on every attack, which is nice. Refreshing Move has mixed opinions, generally between PvE and PvP, but I kind of like it. Chain Void is, it'll do extra damage if things are close by, probably better in PvE possibly, but overall it's an okay bow. Yeah. Barnacle. So this can be obtained from all named enemies in the dungeon as well. A nice gauntlet with 30 intelligence, got Lost, Bane and Vicious. Pretty good since Lost enemies are already weak to ice. That'll do some extra damage. Vicious is good. And then with the update to the weapon perks, if Pylon Burst will do a lot more now since it's on the actual weapon. And do 9.8% extra damage and a burst of damage to foes within 3 meters whenever it fires a projectile. And if you're doing that properly, when you dodge, it increases the fire rate, which means that this will be hitting more often as well. It's a really good ice gauntlet. I think I'll be getting after that. Next we have his sword, the Broadsword. This is from Admiral Black Powder, the first boss. It's got 15 strength, which is nice. Enchanted, which is also good just for general DPS. Shirking Frost and Contagious Reverse Stab. It's not an ideal tanking piece. You'd probably want more defensive perks or more taunting perks, hated, things like that. But if you're looking for some DPS in the Lost Dungeon, this could be pretty good, since when you dodge, you'll do that extra 39% damage as ice, which is nice. And the Contagious Reverse Stab is good because of Nereid in the last fight. You could transfer the rend that she applies to you to her, which had some really nice synergy there. Deep Hole. This can be obtained from Admiral Black Powder as well. It's got Strength and Intelligence, which is nice because that's what it based it off. It's got Lost Bane on, which is nice against lost enemies, although they are weak to thrust damage, but if you decided to run this anyway, that would be fine. Keenly Empowered, which is always nice. If you crit, you gain extra damage, just shoot them in the head, and that will activate. You've got a 5-second cooldown between that. I'm not a big fan of mortal perks, but it could be a nice touch if kill enemies and your cooldowns come off, because it can activate every second, so that's not too bad. We've got Driftwood. This can be obtained from all named enemies. It's got Strength and Dex, which is nice because that's what it scales off. It's got Keen and Vicious, which you always want to see, and Plagued Crits, so this could be a pretty good PvP or PvE weapon. When they are below 50% health, they reduce their healing by 24%. When you crit them, which is nice, this will be good in Mutators as well, when they have the healing things for the Void or Vampiric. That will stop that and make it a bit easier if you've not got a better weapon for that. Okay, so here we've got the Expanse, which is a fire staff, which can be obtained from Nereid, the final boss of the dungeon. It's got Intelligence, Keen and Vicious, which are really good perks, and then Plagued Crits, which is going to be good in PvE or PvP. In PvE, you want it against enemies that can heal, such as the Void Weak in Mutators or the Vampiric Mutator. Overall, very good staff if you've not got something better. Explorer's Friend. This can be obtained from Admiral Black Powder, the first boss in the dungeon. It's got Dexterity and Enchanted, and with the change to weapon perks, it's got Empowering Shooter's Stance. When you hit something while in Shooter's Stance, you gain 40% extra damage for 3 seconds. That's really nice, up from 24%, I believe. That's a big damage boost there. And then you've got Refreshing Move, which is nice, especially if you're teaming it up with Empowered Shooting Stance. If you hit all your shots, that's going to be 5 bullets, which will increase that. Grasp. This can be obtained from all named enemies and is a Void Gauntlet with 30 intelligence. This is a very nice self-sustain piece. You got Vicious in there because the Void Gauntlet already has crit increase in perks in its tree. Vicious is nice there. And then you've got the Life Stealing, which is 5% healing all the time when you attack, and then you got Voracious Blade again with the weapon perk increased now being on weapons. While they are below 50% health, you will heal for 50% of the damage done. You can imagine if you're in a light DPS build, you're hitting for high numbers. If you drop below 50% health, you'll get up to the 50% mark again, and you'll continue on with Life Stealing. Pretty nice self-sustained build going on there. You got Iridescence. This can be obtained from all named enemies as well, and a competitor for the Will of the Ancients in this update, I reckon. So Life Staff with 30 focus, it's got Blessed on, whichever healer wants to see. And then you've got Refresh and Evasion, nice to get your cooldowns back. And then with the update to the weapon perks, you've got Fortifying Sacred Ground here, increasing the 45 to 16%, which used to be 9% on Armour, which is really nice. That's a good Life Staff. You got them all of Fathoms next. This can be obtained from all named enemies as well. You got the Warhammer with 30 strength. You got Trenchant Strikes, which fully charged heavy attacks deal 19% extra damage. This is nice because my personal attack chain is a heavy attack into 2 light attacks, because the heavy attack gives you Empower for 5 seconds. So doing the extra damage on the setup for that is really nice as well. Penetrating Wrecking Ball is going to penetrate 32% of target's armor. I don't know many people that use Wrecking Ball that much, but it's still nice to have that on there. And then Keenly Empowered, if you crit, you gain 15%. So overall, it's an okay piece. I like that. Melting Point. This can be obtained from Nereid, the final boss of the dungeon, and is a spear with 30 dexterity, which is nice. The gem can be swapped out, that's got fire in. You've got Keenly Empowered, which buffs you again when you crit, which is nice, easy with a spear. You've got Vicious, which is nice, and Flaunting Strikes, 11% extra damage when you have Grit. The only thing with this is you get Grit with 300 strength, so this would probably be better as a secondary weapon if you were running a hammer and a spear, or a great axe and a spear, and you had the 300 strength for the Grit there, then this secondary weapon would do a little bit extra damage there. Got Soul Spine. This can be obtained from all named enemies and is a rapier with 30 dexterity. It's got Enchanted and Lost Bane on, which are the 2 perks I look for my Mutator weapons, so this is nice. And then it's got Trenchant Rend on, so fully charged heavy attacks inflict rend for 7 seconds, reducing the target's damage absorption by 14%. And it's only got a 12-second cooldown, so there'll be 5 seconds downtime between the rends if you're timing it properly. So the Lost are stronger to thrust damage, but this could fill in that difference for you and make it plausible. And then you've got the Hook. The Hook is obtained from Admiral Black Powder, the first boss in the dungeon. It's a great axe with strength. It's got Crippling Reap, which slows enemy if they are below 50% health, and slows them for 49% for 4 seconds, which is okay, I guess. And then we've got Keenly Empowered, which gains 15% in power for 5 seconds when you crit, and 14 strikes again, so much better on a great axe, which is full strength. When you get to the 300 strength, you'll always have grit, so that's 11% damage all the time. Really nice piece. And finally, let's move on to the Mutator Exclusives. So the armor from the Admiral is the Admiral set here. So this is all light, it's all 25 strength, and it's all got Lost Lord, Physical Aversion, and Refreshing on. So this is going to be good if you want to go into a light strength and try and get maximum DPS. So you can see here that you've got the Admiral's Claw, Admiral's Pantaloons with the same stuff on, Admiral's Peg, and the Petticoat. So the only thing here with the Petticoat is if you're running a max light build, that you will normally run a medium chest to get the extra defense. So this is possibly the only piece that people may not use, unless they have other options. And then you've got the cap there. Now, Nareed gives the Siren set. So this is a medium set with 25 Constitution. It's got Angry Earth Ward, Elemental Aversion, and Refreshing. So this is nice to fill in gaps for people who want to run like a medium build. So you'll probably use the boots and the gloves to fill in for that medium build, and then you'd have the light pants and the heavy chest and the heavy head. So overall, it's an okay piece. Elemental Aversion. There's not many Angry Earth enemies that do elemental damage, but I've not yet tested whether when you're in a mutator and it's got an elemental mutator on there, whether this actually reduces the damage from, say, an archer who is firing fire damage at you. So that possibly could work and maybe something to look into. We've got the chest wrap, which is going to be nice for anybody wanting to run a light build, because you've got the Constitution on, and this would make it max medium. It's got the same perks on as before. You've got the gloves, the headwear, which may not be used as often because medium headwear doesn't fit into max weight classes. So for a medium max weight, you would go for heavy in the head and chest. So this may be a filler piece if people don't have other things to fill in for that. And then you've got your pants. This is the same kind of position. These would want to be light for a max light build and a max medium build, so these pants might not be used that much, and you may want to hold off unless you've got no other option for using these. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.